What are you at? It's Paul from Wicked Acorn. Welcome back. There is one fruit fly flying around in here for the past couple of days, and it's driving me crazy. I can't get him. It's no fun when you can't get him. I think I'm just going to have to outlive him. Well, what are you at? It's the 13th of October, and let's look at some history. Let's look at our next mystery photo. Our next mystery photo is very difficult if you don't know where it is. This one could be anywhere, but of course it's not. It's somewhere. And I'll let you have a look at that while I get a sip of tea. So it really could be anywhere, couldn't it? But it's somewhere, and it's somewhere we're going to look at tomorrow. A video related to an event in history that happened tomorrow in history. But today we're going to look at today in history. So, today in history, our last mystery photo. Let's reveal where our last mystery photo is. This is St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. And that's where I came from, to here, my old hometown, so to speak. Not where I was born, but that's where I spent my adult life. And that is pretty much what it looks like today, except there are probably less leaves, being October the 13th. But today in history, in 1914, this guy, who has nothing to do with St. John's, Newfoundland directly, he is Garrett Morgan, and he is an American inventor. And he patented the, uh, it was called the safety hood gas mask. It was later refined into a gas mask, but it was called a safety hood. And it was mainly for firefighters. It was a hood that went over your head and had some kind of eyepieces and two hoses that came off it. And the hoses just went down to the floor. So, you know, what they teach us when you are in a fire, in a smoky room, you get close to the floor, you get down below the floor. So the hoses would draw air from down by the floor. Really, 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 really simple smoke hood. Couldn't get any simpler, could it? So that was the first kind of gas mask kind of thing. There were ones before, and I was looking at some history of gas masks, and one I hadn't thought of is the plague doctors, you know, with the big beak thing and the hood and the glasses and all that. Really spooky looking thing. But it was an early kind of gas mask. It the beak part of it, which looks really ominous, is filled. They filled it with flowers and herbs and sweet smelling things to cover up the smell of death that was everywhere and the stench from what was going on. And So it was an early kind of respirator. And at the time, they thought that diseases were spread through the air, which of course some are, but not usually. Um, Miasma, I think they called it. Uh, Bad smells is what carried disease. So that was an early form of respirator as well. And there were a bunch, but the real first gas mask was invented by a fella called Clooney McPherson from St. John's, Newfoundland. So I'm just going to switch over to this other screen here. Oh, have I been on the wrong screen the whole time? I may have been. Well, that is, have I been on the wrong screen the whole time? Let me see. Oh, yes, I have. Just reviewing the thing here. So I'll just go back quickly through to show you because I was on the wrong screen. So that was our mystery photo for the next live stream. Good evening, 1, 2, 3, 4. I just realized I had the wrong screen on for what I was talking about. Anyway, that's our mystery photo for the next live stream. And then I was talking about today in history, 13th of October, and talked about our mystery photo from the last live stream, which is St. John's, Newfoundland. And then I was talking about this guy, Garrett Morgan, who has nothing to do with St. John's, Newfoundland, but he invented the first gas hood, the first gas mask. But the first real gas mask was invented by this guy, Clooney McPherson from St. John's, Newfoundland. And I was about to change screens and I realized I was on the wrong screen. So I'm just going to switch over to another screen here and look at a bit about Clooney McPherson, just very briefly, just to tell you about him. He was a physician and inventor of the early gas mask. Yeah, so he was, he worked with Grenfell, who is quite a famous person in Newfoundland history. He set up hospitals around the country. He was a Scottish doctor, I believe. Set one up in Battle Harbor and a couple of other places. Places you probably wouldn't know of. But the German army used poison gas for the first time against Allied troops at the Second Battle of Ypres, Belgium on April 22nd, 1915. Cotton wool wrapped in muslin was issued to troops by May 1st and followed by the Black Veil respirator, a cotton pad soaked in absorbent solution which was secured over the mouth using black cotton veiling. Seeking to improve on the Black Veil respirator, McPherson created a mask made of chemical absorbing fabric which fitted over the head. A canvas hood treated with chlorine absorbing chemicals and fitted with a transparent mica eyepiece. McPherson presented his idea to the War Office Anti-Gas Department on May 10, 1915, with prototypes being developed soon after. The design was adopted by the British Army and introduced as the British Smoke Hood in June 1915. And so then McPherson went on to further develop the gas hood, and there's the gas hood. So I just thought I would show you that. And Here's a little clip of down at uh, it was VE Day, and George Cogswell had a display set up of Second World War artifacts that he's collected over the years, and a couple of gas masks or respirators, as they should be called. Um, these are Second World War type, so kind of a connection to my hometown. Now, I asked George about Clooney McPherson. He didn't know about him, so uh, that's why I want to share his name, because he's a fellow Newfoundlander, and people don't know about his contribution to the First World War and gas masks. So here's a little clip of George showing some of his gas masks. He'll correct me in a moment.
Operators there.
Say again?
Two well, they're called Mickey Mouse respirators. They don't look anything like Mickey Mouse, but the American ones were Mickey Mouse respirators. They did look like Mickey Mouse respirators. So when the British
ears and everything.
yeah. Oh yeah. They very much like Mickey Mouse. But the English version was, as you see it there now. The red one came out first, and when they run out of red rubber, they produced a second batch in black rubber, which is, again, it's very, very rare. There's very few of those about. They don't look particularly like Mickey Mouse, but they just call them that.
So they called them the Mickey Mouse respirators because the American version was very much indeed a Mickey Mouse mask. It had ears and a face, and I really don't know if that's any less frightening than the ones George showed, but that's what they called them. They called them, the British ones were called Mickey Mouse respirators as well. And they issued these to every person in the country. Not the Mickey Mouse one, but a respirator, gas mask, was issued to everybody in the country. And all the little kids going off, some of them got shipped out of London with their little cardboard box. You had to carry it with you at all times. And it must have been a very frightening thing. Although I saw one documentary, a woman talking about it, the kids having fun like kids do. It's just normal, everyday stuff for children a lot of the time. They don't realize how frightening it is. That's the wrong one. There's one more here, and this is interesting because there's one for people that would need assistance breathing. It's got like a bellows on it, and the baby respirator, like for a little infant. So it must have been an absolutely terrifying time for adults to be issued this stuff. So, note to self, I have to add sound to this scene, so you can't hear what George is saying here. Um, yeah, so that one is, as you can see, it has a bellows that you can pump if somebody has difficulty breathing. And the baby one is here at the end. There it is, right here, with the same bellows thing, so you can provide air to the baby in case of a gas attack. Must have been absolutely terrifying for people to be issued such things. Must have been absolutely terrifying. I've got it on the wrong screen again, do I? I'm showing you the wrong screens here. So here's the baby respirator with the bellows on it. And this is the one for people with breathing problems. Don't know if I'm switching to the right cameras here now. I'm out of practice on this. So there's the Mickey Mouse respirator. What else we got here? On October 13th, yeah, I'm really out of practice here today. Hello, baby with the laser. On October 13th, 1269, Henry III consecrated the new Gothic-style Westminster Abbey and transferred the bones of Edward the Confessor to a new shrine behind the altar. The consecration was a pivotal moment for Henry as he had rebuilt the abbey to venerate the saintly king and establish a royal burial site for his family. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, King Philip IV of France ordered the mass arrest of the Knights Templar and their Grand Master Jacques de Molay. So that's a name you may have heard before if you know what was the Da Vinci Code. That comes up in the Da Vinci Code. On fabricated charges including heresy, idolatry, and corruption, the king, who was heavily indebted to the Templars, initiated the arrest to seize the order's wealth and consolidate his own power. The arrest led to a period of torture and trials, and the order was ultimately dissolved by the Pope in 1312. So that's one of the theories on the superstition behind Friday the 13th, is this event, which took place on Friday, October 13th, Friday the 13th, 1307. All these medieval things. On October 13th, 1399, Henry of Bolingbroke was crowned King Henry IV of England at Westminster Abbey a few weeks after deposing his cousin Richard II. The coronation followed Richard's second deposition on September 30th, 1399, after which Henry seized the throne. Richard was subsequently imprisoned and died in Pontefract Castle in February 1400. And that is the clip we're going to look at today. So this is a video, when did we do this one? It's like 4 or 5 years ago for sure. And it's a visit to Flint Castle in Wales, where all that stuff took place with Henry and Richard. Hi, it's Paul from Wicked Acorn. are in Wales and we're gonna go check out Flint Castle. Come on, let's check it out. Wales is one of our favorite places to visit in the UK. They have the coolest flag. Look at that. I don't know why they didn't include it on the Union Jack. Well, I do, but that's another story. This is Flint Castle, and it's one of those magical places where if you're so inclined, you can have a go at those boyhood fantasies and fight dark knights and dragons. This place was built in 1277 by Edward I, you know, the bad guy in Braveheart. And it features in a Shakespeare play, but it's not fanciful. Richard II was deposed here at Flint Castle in 1399. We found this little bench that has the story of Flint. I chose English instead of Welsh.
Flint Castle is striking both in terms of its construction and location.
Some kind of defensive ditch, a moat. I guess this is a gateway. So we advert. As soon as I go get a sip of tea. Just gotta skip through these ads. The video we did the other day with what's the name of that place? Butlins. Butlins had a copyright claim on it. Anyway, we can handle copyright claims, just don't want to have copyright strikes. Moat. I guess this is a gateway. So we don't know anything about this place. Let's go find out something. We got ocean on that side. And this is down in a... Yeah, I don't know when that Welsh flag came about. You could be right. But of course, the reason Wales isn't included on the Union Jack is because Wales was part of England at the time. It had already been taken. So when the Union Jack was created, Wales was part of England. Or so they say. Defensive ditch. A moat again, I guess. There's a lot of damage. Seems to be some kind of arch there. Must have been something. Window, door. And let's start heading in. There's that same tower. Let's see, arrow slits. So that tower is unto itself, not connected to whatever this bit over here is. And stairs going up. Looks like my group's gone up.
But why did Edward I build a castle here? The English king was on a mission to try to subdue the Welsh. After all, Wales had been a battleground since the Norman invasion of 1066, with Welsh princes keeping up an almost constant battle for their lands.
And this is a hole in the wall. This doesn't look intentional, maybe?
By the time Edward's father, Henry III, became king, the English crown directly controlled all of North Wales to the east of the River Conwy. However, the Welsh hadn't given up the fight.
Me watching you, you watching me?
Llywelyn ap Griffith came from a long line of powerful Welsh princes. He fought against...
That's the reverse shot. That's me way down here. I think my wife or daughter took this video. That's me down there.
Henry III and forced the king to sign a treaty which officially recognised Llywelyn as Prince of Wales. But the story didn't end there. When Henry died, Edward became king, and he and Llywelyn failed to see eye to eye.
So I told you my fascination with accents. Llywelyn, that's a Welsh thing, obviously. I wonder, I don't know anything about this. This is just me wondering. Do you know the story of Barcelona? Apparently the Queen had a lisp, so that's why it's pronounced Barcelona instead of Barcelona. Barcelona. I wonder if some ruler of Wales had that speech impediment. I hope I'm not insulting anyone. I'm just wondering where that came from. It was funny because there was a rental place we used to rent gear from, you know, PA equipment and stuff. And this guy worked there, Ronnie. And the first time I met Ronnie, it was funny. Baby with a laser, you may know what I'm talking about here. The foolishness you get up to in the van on the way to gigs and on the way back from gigs. And so we were talking like this the whole way home in the van, right? And when we got to the rental place, we continued talking like it the whole time inside the rental place. And this guy, Ronnie, came up and started talking like that. And I thought he was just playing along. And it was weeks and weeks later, I realized he actually had that speech impediment. It was a horrible coincidence. And it's like, okay, what do I do now? Because we were speaking right to him like that, echoing back his speech impediment to him. That sound. And so I wonder if that's where that came from. You know, the people started imitating the ruler or some person. Don't know. Accents are fascinating.
The new king felt the Welsh prince was disrespectful and disloyal, and eventually it led to all-out war.
Teenagers have been drinking here a long time. Long before these gates were put up. But after there were teenagers, which is a pretty modern invention. And these walls would have continued all along here, much higher than they are today. This is probably a more modern addition.
Edward invaded Wales in June 1277. He had already strengthened some of his father's castles in Wales, but decided he needed newer, more powerful fortresses too. Within a month, work was underway on building Flint. The castle was to be a launchpad for the English king's occupation of Welsh lands.
And there's some marvelous graffiti here. 1858. So you think that's a myth about the Barcelona? It could be. It's one of those stories we hear, though, isn't it? It could be a myth. Those things happen. I just got to get through this advert here. That graffiti is quite something, isn't it? It is to me, anyway. You don't see much 1858 graffiti back in St. John's, Newfoundland. Here, 1858. Might that be a Mason's mark? This is the central area. This is where the girls play football.
it was no accident that Edward I chose this site for his castle. It had everything a self-respecting medieval castle builder could desire. Firstly, its location on the banks of the Dee estuary meant it was easily supplied by ships and boats, so it could outlast long sieges. Secondly, its fantastic views along the estuary were a great advantage in terms of spotting any waterborne attackers. Thirdly, it's situated only...
I trust QI. I trust them. If they say it's a myth, I believe them.
Day's march from what was then the important English garrison town of Chester. And finally, the site even had a natural stone base in an otherwise marshy area. As castle sites go, it was a no-brainer.
Photo tip: include the headland on the left in the foreground of your picture. This will help frame your picture and add an extra dimension or layer to the view. 2. Take a flint selfie. Behind you is the northeast tower, once the residential quarters of the castle. Perfect background for a flint selfie, surely. Tilt the panel to the right angle and then place your phone on the shelf below. Set the timer, stand back and huddle in quickly. How do you take a selfie with this stand? It doesn't move. You're supposed to rotate this stand thing around, I think. So I have to get way down here, scrunch way down. I don't think I can angle it properly. Okay, so we'll pretend I'm in this picture.
Built at an original cost of around £7,000, construction work at Flint Castle and its planted town was ferocious, requiring an army of masons, carpenters and labourers. Records still exist that tell us the names of some of the workmen, their trade and their day rate. In fact, we know 200 masons were on the payroll here in 1277. They literally left their mark on site. Over 40 masons' marks can be found within the castle. Your challenge is to see if you can find any. Some are shaped like arrows, while others look like letter T's, X's, or crosses carved into the stone.
1970?
The castle was all but complete by 1282, less than 5 years after the building work had begun.
Well, you deserve. They well
What is
deserve
that?
to have the storm.
A toilet? No, it would be on the outside, wouldn't it?
Give me your hands.
Chimney?
But why call it Flint? Well, the name Flint, or Le Flint,
There's that guy we saw the last time we were here.
may well be a reference to the castle's rocky base.
The advert. This one is for curries, in case you're curious. Wouldn't want you to miss out on the advert, but
Castle's rocky base.
There's a hole in the floor here. Why was there a hole? There's a hole in the wall too.
Or perhaps to the position of the castle above the tide. Suprafluent in Latin. Was it also symbolic? Did Edward use the name to signal his desire to light a spark of fire into Wales?
This must be a chimney. Is it a toilet or a chimney?
Follow the story of Edward I's invasion of Wales by visiting Iwlo Castle, which was built by Llywelyn ap Gruffydd as part of his opposition tactics, and Rhuddlan Castle, which became Edward's headquarters for his assault on Wales.
And these are intentional holes, there are arches. There's been a lot of damage or decay. Now this hole goes up at an angle. It's weird. And that must be a chimney or something.
So this is the place where Henry and Richard exchange. Ap means son of in Welsh. I was just wondering if that double L thing is Welsh, right? I don't know, I'm asking. The double L, like Lloyd, L-L-Y-O-D, is that Welsh? Is Lloyd a Welsh name? Don't know. But this is where all that took place, and it's in the Shakespeare play, of course, which you'll hear a little bit of here. They didn't have any history about the Civil War. All that damage, like I think most of the damage to the castle occurred during the Civil War. I guess people hid out in there or put up some resistance during the Civil War, but there was no history about it represented in the plaques and boards that were around the place.
Well, we'll head down there and see if we can look up.
Richard II, Act 3. King Richard II is standing on the battlements of Flint Castle. It is becoming clear King Richard must step aside and allow his cousin, Henry Bolingbroke, to take the crown. As Henry approaches the castle, King Richard reflects upon his fate.
Down, down I come, like glistering phaeton wanting the manage of unruly jades. In the base court, where kings grow base, to come at traitors' calls and do them grace. In the base court, come down, down court, down king, for night I'll shriek where mountain larks should sing.
Bolingbroke arrives at the castle courtyard. He walks up to Richard and kneels before him.
Fair cousin, you debase your princely knee to make the base earth proud with kissing. Me rather had my heart might feel your love than my unpleased eye see your curtsy. Up, cousin, up. Your heart is up, I know. Thus high at least, although your knee below.
My gracious lord, I come but for mine own.
Your own is yours, and I am yours, and all.
So far be mine, my most redoubted lord, as my true service shall deserve your love.
Well you deserve. They well deserve to have that know the strongest and surest way to get. Uncle, give me your hands. Nay, dry your eyes. Tear.
So that whole area there in front of the castle floods, or the tide comes in there. I guess it's tidal. It's the River Dee, but I guess it's tidal and comes in right up to the castle. Right. I'm just looking at your pronunciation code here. So it'll be Chloyd. Which it's not. But I wonder if it's Welsh in origin because of the strange double L at the beginning. L-L-Y-O-D, I mean.
show their love, but want their remedies. Cousin, I am too young to be your father, though you are old enough to be my heir. What you will have, I'll give, and willing too. For do we must what force will have us do. Set on towards London, cousin. Is it so?
Yea, my good lord.
Then I must not say no.
From this moment on, Richard's fate is sealed.
That's the stairs we just came down. Another one of these angled holes. Why is that angled so? Up high enough to let in light, and then angled down maybe, so the light comes down.
Llandudno. That's the place I was telling you about a while ago, trying to walk out to see the ocean. It was in Llandudno. Sorry to over enunciate. Yeah, it's really far out to the ocean, and the tide comes in really quickly.
And you can see the curve of the stone. Curves around. And this, don't know if that continues down, but it continues up. It's one of the ones. Another one of these. These are the ones we saw from up above. And there's that hole in the floor, the round hole in the floor. And it looks like there's water down there, so it must be a well. Mason mark. Or some other type of mark. An asterisk kind of mason mark. Yeah, you can see a lot of them down here.
So there'll be a video about mason marks at some point in time. I meant to do one several times over the years, because they're all over the place, and they're kind of mysterious things. People find them mysterious anyway, but they're really just mason marks. They're just marks made by masons to sometimes to say, I made this piece, you owe me X amount of money for making this piece, I made this one. You know, inspected by Inspector 12 kind of stamp that you see on things. It's just so people can get, yeah, so they're, yeah, it looks like a Christian symbol, and they look mysterious, and you know, you're finding it on a castle that's, you know, 800 years old or whatever it is. So it's very mysterious, but it's just the mason leaving his mark saying, I made this stone, make sure you pay me. Sometimes they're alignment marks. Carpenters do the same thing. You know, when you're lining up pieces, okay, make sure these two marks line up when you put these two pieces together. So they're not really mysterious, but that's no fun. It's more fun when it's mysterious. I hate to tell people what they actually are, or at least that's what they say they are. Maybe they are mysterious things.
There'll be like 40 of them down here. These are all intended openings, but they've been damaged.
Bring friends and family together with the perfect gift this Christmas. Shop.
Boy, there's a lot of adverts in this one. Have to, what's this one for? This is the Snowdonian Cheese Company, in case you're wondering. And then one for Centrum. Don't want you to miss out too much.
They've been damaged. It's a pretty good circle. Circle Man was here. And this is pretty low here. It's tall enough to stand, but lower than we're used to. Oh, we're down in the center of it all now. The things that have gone on here. Well, this must flood. Tide, there's all these tiny little dead crabs here. Tiny little crab bodies everywhere. They're all throughout the grass everywhere. They said it's a salt marsh. They're everywhere. That's what living next to the ocean will do to you. So now I'm trapped. Doesn't take much of a moat to stop me. Oh, how far back have I got to go to get across this moat?
You like the cheese, do you? This always, it's something I've always thought about, moats, and it doesn't take much of a moat to make you not want to cross it. It's happened to me a couple of times. We were staying in a hotel in Vancouver, way over on the other side of Canada, and we arrived several hours before our checkout time. So we decided to go check out the hotel before we checked in. And it had this beautiful Japanese garden around the hotel. The garden outside, around the entire outside of the hotel. And so we walked around the hotel and realized that we couldn't get in, but it was just like a little pond, that a moat that encircled the hotel. And you know, it was probably only that deep, foot deep if that, but it was wide. And it was the first time I really realized, oh, this is a moat. This is a moat. you don't need a fence, right? You know, it's just because you just don't want to go in it. It's it doesn't take much to make you not want to get into it. And I was thinking about this, watching this earlier today, just to skim through and see what was going on in this video because it was so long ago. And I remember this moat bit, which is not really a moat, but the whole thing is a moat. It's just a little depression where some water had collected. And so I found a narrow spot and jumped over. And I remember thinking about it at the time. I don't know how solid the ground on the other side of this little thing is. You know, I jump across, I could go up to my neck in mud. I have no idea. Anyway, I didn't. I survived. But it doesn't take much of a moat to deter someone.
Made it. I'm on the other side of the moat now. Funny how this stone is eroded like this, all pockmarked.
There's oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the place on the opposite coast, on the east coast of England. The Bram Stoker place, the place that it inspired the Dracula story. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, there's the ruins of a monastery or a cathedral or something up on the hill, which apparently inspired the Dracula story. Anyway, there's a graveyard, of course, around the. I don't know if it's a cathedral or a monastery or what it is, and they are so worn away by the salt and weather and sand being blown over them for centuries. Whitby, yes, that's it, Whitby.
Stone worn away, or is that living stone, so to speak?
Rick is very into metal detecting baby with a laser. I keep telling him he should be doing that on his channel, doing metal detecting, but he doesn't want to for some reason. But yeah, he's right into that stuff. There's a video we did, live stream he did, where he showed some of his stuff. And, you know, he's found Roman stuff, Roman coins. And yeah, I guess the moat was like a tip. So I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff you'd find in moats.
All these little holes at regular intervals here. Are they some kind of weep hole? At regular interval, all the way along at that same height. This looks like some kind of a buttress here, is it? Modern bricks in there. And this tower is outside by the looks of it. I guess we have to beware a falling stone. Didn't fall down in one day, did it? There's the entrance, or at least how we entered. And this tower is closed. So I've seen this guy before. We were here one very rainy day, and we didn't go explore Flint Castle that day. It was very rainy, but we were parked not far from this guy. So just on the other side of the lifeboat, what is the RNLI? Is the Flint Town United Social Club. And if you have to pee, I'm sure they'll let you pee there.
We don't have RNLI, of course. We have Coast Guard fulfills that duty. What else do we need here? Our where is it photo for tomorrow. Whitby, is that where Flint Castle? Yeah, it's there was one section of it closed down when we were there. I don't know if like I said, that was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago that we were there, that video you just watched. So yeah, it's definitely and I mean there's a whole chain of castles over there to go look at. Whitby, is that where Captain Cook is from? James Cook, Captain James Cook. He's a big figure in Newfoundland history as well. I think that's, I'm pretty sure that's where Captain Cook is from, Whitby. And anyway, I'll tell you the story anyway. Uh, yes, it's the Goth capital. Yeah. Yeah, apparently the cathedral or whatever it is up on the hill was the inspiration for it when Bram Stoker was staying in Whitby. And the Whitby jet, that was another revelation to me. Something I've said a million times, jet black, and never thought to wonder why jet black. Of course, jet is like a semi-precious stone, which I had no idea until I went to Whitby a few years ago. And jet, it's a semi-precious black stone, and that's where jet black comes from. Yeah, Captain Cook, and the story of Captain Cook. Captain Cook mapped Newfoundland, and his maps were in use until very recently. Like they were still in use up until very recently. I'm sure there are old fellers that still use them. His maps were so accurate, and that's back in what, the 1700s, 1600s. When was Captain Cook? Um, yeah, 1700s for sure. Um, Victorian mourning jewelry. That's right. Yeah, and I've never heard of it. Never occurred to me to wonder where jet black came from. Do you say jet black as an expression when describing something as being very dark or very black? Jet black. Um, so Captain Cook, yeah, he mapped the other side of Canada as well, like 5,000 as the crow flies miles away. But of course, he had to go all the way around the entire continent. Uh, Vancouver, and he mapped all the west coast of America as well, and Australia and Hawaii, and on and on and on. Madness. Uh, but interesting connection to Newfoundland and Captain Cook. When he was quite young when he visited Newfoundland. He wasn't a captain at the time. Fossilized coal, is it? Um, when he was visiting Newfoundland as a young, um, what do you call those guys that do the measuring? Can't think of the word. I get stuck on words, can't conjure them up. Um, he had an accident with a cannon, and he had a gruesome scar on, I think it was his left arm, and he nearly lost his arm. So this is before he was a captain. I think he might have been with Nelson at the time. I can't remember the details of it, but I remember reading some biography of him years ago. And anyway, he got a gruesome scar, almost lost his arm, and of course, much later in the Captain Cook story, he was in the Hawaiian Islands somewhere in Polynesia, where he met his untimely end. Uh, that's how they identified his body, was from the scar, because that's all that was left was his arm. You can imagine what happened to the rest of him. The gruesome scar on his left arm was how they identified his body, or what was left of his body. Anyway, there you go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There you go. There's our Where Is It photo for tomorrow. Surveyors, thank you. Why couldn't I think of that word? Um, there you go. That is our Where Is It photo for tomorrow. So we'll have a look at that tomorrow. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming by. And of course, as per usual, we'll see you in the next one.